Alright y'all, so I'm out here about to install my brakes and rotors here. First time I've ever done this on this car. First time I've actually done this whole type of setup on any car before. I've taken out some calipers and, you know, hubs and things like that before. I've just never had to replace any brakes before. So this actually be my first time kind of doing this. I've done drums a few times, but never disc brakes. So this will be the first time for me doing this, attacking this. Got all my tools and everything out that I need. My parts are in the back. I'm gonna go get those after I take these off. So should be fairly straightforward. I've watched some other people do it in the past and done some research. So gonna go ahead and attack this and try to get this done. I'm just gonna do it one by one, meaning I'm gonna do this side first, and I have to actually work for a little bit. As I am now back to work. We're just not open, we're just doing stuff from home. So they basically hired us back on to do stuff from home, so that's good. So I'm gonna knock this one out, then do a little bit of work, and then come and knock the rear off. And then I'm probably gonna have to flip the car around, that way I can access it, because I don't have any room on the other side to kind of work. So I'm gonna have to turn the car around, do those sides, and that should be good to go. There it is. So I don't know, maybe they would replace the pads at some point, but never the rotors. But I don't know. I think the rotors have been replaced too, because usually on these they have the little star lock washers, usually a couple of them, and those weren't on there. So at some point these were replaced, maybe. Or at least taken off, I'm not sure. But no, they're pretty rusted, so maybe not. But I don't know. Like I said, being my first time kind of replacing rotors, there's really a thick like groove right here, like a lip, like it's been rubbing for a while. And these look kind of coarse on here as well too. So I don't know, but since I got new brakes anyway, or new pads, I might as well just put them on while I have them. So here's the new rotors, all the new parts, brakes, hardware, and everything. Got these from Detroit Axle. If you guys can see that down there. I'm only using one hand right here to hold these rotors. But I got them side by side, definitely the same size, so that's good. Drilled and slotted, so that's really good as well. But as you can see, I got them side by side. I don't know if you guys can see that lip there from the wear. So I think these rotors are definitely low because these don't have that lip. So they're definitely getting low. I know the wear indicator was definitely rubbing on that back one there, and that's why I think all that metal debris that was sitting on the rim, I think that's why it basically embedded itself on the rim and then the paint, and that's why I probably had a hard time getting it off and had to repaint it. But yeah, man, these are nice. I forgot how much I paid for these. I think it was like $270 shipped or something like that for front and back and all the hardware. All right, that is pretty much the finished product on this one. I kind of skipped ahead here as I was getting crunched for time before my meeting. It's looking good in there, yeah. Drilled and slotted, all good. I guess these are covered with like some zinc protective coating for rust. And I didn't know if I should have cleaned them, because a lot of the times they come with like oil or whatever, and you have to like clean them off before you put them on, because you don't want that slick stuff on the brake pads. And I didn't know if you had to do that to these as well, but I did it anyway. And I wasn't know if I was supposed to, but I first I just sprayed it on, and I was like, oh, you know what, I don't want to try to get it on this, because if it's protecting this as well, then I didn't want this to rust. A little bit of it got on there, but then I just basically started to spray it on a towel, and then I just started to wipe it down. Eventually it's gonna wear anyway if the brake pads are rubbing on there, so it's gonna wear it off anyway on this part at least, but I wanted to try to save it on this so it didn't rust. But some of it got on there. You can see kind of streaks as well, but I guess with the rim, when the rim is on, you won't be able to see it anyway. It's looking good. All the new hardware is installed, all the new oil or the lubrication and everything. I lubed those pins that go inside there with this little bearing grease, and everything's torqued down. So the 2 bolts that hold the brackets are supposed to be torqued down to like 120 foot-pounds or something like that, and my torque wrench only goes to like 80. So I used my torque wrench up to 80, and then I just gave it a couple more snug turns, and I put some Loctite on it so it shouldn't come out. It's on there pretty damn good. These are supposed to be on there, these pins that hold the caliper on to the bracket are supposed to be 31 foot-pounds, and so I used my torque wrench for that, and again put some little bit of red Loctite on there. I didn't go crazy on it, just because if I ever wanted to take it off again, I didn't want it to be soaked with Loctite. But yeah, y'all, so these pads are like way thicker than those, so maybe those were pretty low. I mean, these were probably over half more padding on there than those ones were, so they were probably getting kind of low. They probably still had a little bit of time, but it was good that I was able to change them out anyway. So anyways, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and start to wrap this up here so I can get inside and get prepared for this meeting. I'll come back out here and kind of finish the rest, and then go from there. All right, y'all, I am done with one side, the passenger side. This was the worst. This was the one that was making noise, but I got it done, and I'm going to show you the rotor, man. The rotor was not good. Neither was the brake pad. Yeah, it looks good in there, especially with it painted and everything. So it turned out really, really good. I like that look. I'll take it to the front. Yeah, man, I haven't driven this thing in I don't know how long, but looking pretty good in there. I didn't film me doing this just because I was crunched for time, but it's pretty much the same procedure as the front, just a couple different style of bolts back here, but pretty much the same deal as the front. These rotors are a little bit wider in the back, and then you got dual pistons and all that. This seems like a pretty good product, and I'm happy with it so far. Everything was straightforward. You just got to make sure you order the correct one, because they have a kit for dual pistons, which is what I have, and then they have a kit for single piston in the back. So you got to make sure you order the right one. I got these off Amazon, Detroit Axle. A really easy, simple to install so far, and I'm liking the product so far. Also too, I had to replace the emergency brake shoe. It was pretty worn from what it seems like. I mean, a quarter of this is gone already, so I just figured since I already had it off, might as well just replace it. It was about 20 bucks each, so wasn't expecting to pay another 40, but anyways, got that done. Oh, and I replaced, I don't know if you guys remember, when I took off the wheel, there was a broken stud in there, and I replaced that stud as well. That was kind of a bitch, honestly, but yeah, this was this broken stud right here. I replaced it with another one, so I just got to get a lug nut for it and be good to go. This is my extra one for the rear somewhere. Oh, right here. And then this is what came off, man. So this was the back pad closest to the hub, man. I mean, that thing is totally disintegrated. And look at that rotor, man. Definitely grooved up. Oh man, it's crazy. I mean, it was bad. It was edging its way, leaving lip on the side, man. Is not good. But you know, I mean, it's crazy. I didn't have the car that long. You know, I just bought this thing, and you know, something told me to kind of check the brakes, but I was like, you know, I'll just ride them out until I figure they're not they're kind of going out. But I mean, this is ridiculous, man. So anyways, I'm glad to get it done. It was something that I've never done before, and I'm glad to get it done. What it do, y'all, man? I am on my third, maybe my fourth day of working on this dang Caddy, man, and we finally are coming to the end. Hopefully, man. This thing has been kicking my butt. I just got done working. As you know, I'm back on this week working again, so that's good. More money coming in. But man, everything went smooth. I mean, went smooth. I think I started with the main source of the problem, which is the rear right side, passenger side. That went smooth. Then I hit the front passenger side. That went smooth. Then the driver front, that went smooth. And you know, it's like every time you do something, you have to do it over and over again. You get quicker and quicker, quicker and better. That's how it was going. And of course, I couldn't finish it all in one day. So then the next day, or just because I had some other stuff to do, the next day was the morning. I was like, all right, go out here. I'll be done in a couple hours, because I had to paint and do some other things to the caliper. Wait on that to dry and then be done. A few hours, I'm good. Man, I started work on this at 8 a.m. I didn't get done till 8 p.m. That's how much of a problem this thing gave me. All right, y'all, now it's all together. But what was my first problem? Okay, so the emergency brake shoe, that was my first problem. It was just caked up with all kinds of debris and everything inside. Well, first off, I couldn't get the rim off. That rim was on there. Whoever bolted these bolts on, I mean, they must have had Hercules put these dang lug nuts on, because I couldn't get them off for nothing. Finally, I got them off. So after battling that, took off everything. Everything was good. I put the new shoes on, and it was just caked up with all kinds of dust. The little turning mechanism to tighten the brake shoe was not working correctly, so I had to take that apart, fix that. That took some time. I already painted the calipers and everything, and come to find out that the caliper, again, I've never really dealt a lot with calipers and brakes and stuff, so this is all new to me. So the piston, the boot around the piston was torn, and I kind of figured it wasn't a big thing, but I really didn't know for sure. But on these pistons here, you basically have to smash down the piston so you can get the caliper back on with the new brakes, because as the the brake pads thin out, then the caliper also, you know, hugs them in and gets tighter and tighter and tighter. You have to push the piston back, flatten it out to get it on. So all the pistons and everything smash down great. You just need to, you use one of the old brake pads, you use a clamp, and you just basically tighten them down and it smashes that piston. Well, one piston I had, the one with the torn boot, I had so much problems trying to get that thing to smash in, and I figured that wasn't right, but I was like, I wasn't sure. So it was already on, and it took me some time to smash that thing down. And, you know, to make a long story short, finally got everything back together, and I was like, you know what, I've already spent enough money on it. I'm just gonna ride with it for a little bit and then do some research on it, and if I need to replace the caliper, I'll do it. Well, my girl was sitting here watching me too. She talked some sense into me, and she was like, you know, you already have it off. We're in quarantine. You haven't driven the car since we've been under quarantine. What's another day or two or whatever? You know, how much does the caliper cost? So I looked it up. I mean, it was like well, the one that I saw was like about an extra $100. So I was like, all right. Anyways, I go up to O'Reilly's, get the new caliper. But when I looked at it, it looked a little bit different. It looked kind of similar, but just different. But that's what their system called for. And I was like, oh man. And I looked on Amazon, and Amazon was like, I would have had to wait another month to get a caliper. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to do that. So I didn't want, you know, one different caliper and you know, 3 others are the same. But I had to go with what I did, or what they had. So I was like, all right, I'll take it. Bring it back here. I actually measured it out and put them on, like, kind of temporarily put it on. I thought I could use my, because it came with a bracket too, I thought I could use my bracket with the caliper, because the guy up there said that I could. They know me pretty well, and so I tried to do that. That didn't work, so I had to take off the caliper, repaint all the caliper and the bracket, put it back on, and come to find out, the brake pads are different. So the brake pads that I have that worked on all the other ones did not work with this new caliper and bracket. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I went back up there, took my old brake pad with me. I'm like, yo, these brake pads don't fit in there, and I don't know, but the whole caliper assembly and everything fits on, but the brake pads don't. So I'm thinking, I'm like, well, you know, this is O'Reilly's trying to make their own set, trying to make you buy their brakes, you know, their brake pads and all that, you know, whatever. Some more research, and then he actually pulls up an all-wheel drive Caddy, and in their system, their all-wheel drive calipers are different than their rear-wheel drive. Now, keep in mind, this Caddy is a 5.3 rear-wheel drive car. It's not an all-wheel drive, but their system shows that these calipers, and this might be good for you guys if you have a Caddy or a Tahoe or something, that the all-wheel drive calipers are different from their rear-wheel drive. Well, I have, per their system, the all-wheel drive brake setup, which is weird to me. I don't know why they would be different from 2-wheel to 4-wheel, but okay. So I go up there the first time and I tell him, you know, it's a 2-wheel drive Caddy. So he brings up 2-wheel drive Caddy and gives me what their system calls for 2-wheel drive calipers, not knowing that the 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive calipers are different, being that this is not 4-wheel drive, but they have the all-wheel drive calipers per their system. So whatever. So anyways, long story short, that's what we figured out. Came back, got it installed, and now everything's gravy. Now I have to take an extra step, because now I have to bleed the brakes. Since I took off the caliper, you know, you have to take off the brake hose, and now I have to rebleed the brakes again. So there you go. Stay tuned for more, I guess, and hopefully I can have this done today. All right, y'all. All right, she is all on all fours now, and wouldn't you know it, the back brake again gave me some issues as I was trying to bleed the brakes, man. Same one. So the banjo fitting, where the hose banjo connects to that bleeder screw, whatever there, right there, where it goes to that copper crushed washer, that one gave me some issues. I guess I didn't have it tight enough. the torque specs call for 30 foot-pounds. There is no way I'm tightening that thing to 30 foot-pounds. I researched and whatever, and some people were saying 26 foot-pounds, some people were saying 30 foot-pounds, even one said 40 foot-pounds. And I'm like, man, I am not tightening that thing that tight. So what I did is I went to 20 foot-pounds. Well, first I did it with a normal socket, and it was kind of leaking, so I tightened it a little bit again. Kind of leaked again, so I tightened it again, and then it stopped. But for some reason I wasn't happy with it, so I was like, let me look up the torque specs. And that's when I found all those numbers. So what I did is I went to 20 and it seemed pretty tight. Then I kept easing my way up, and I was okay with 26, but then when I got to 23, I was like, man, I don't know how much further this thing can go. And I know those are crush washers, but I don't think that they'll, I don't know, man. And then I went to 24 and I stopped. I came across the thread, and a guy said that he went the torque specs of 30 foot-pounds from the GM manual, and it stripped. So I was like, nope, I'm stopping right there. Also, had some issues with the bleeder screw, man. I was tightening that thing and it would not stop leaking. So I took it off, and technically you don't need any Teflon tape on that because it has a type of fitting where it's like kind of cone shaped, and then it basically seals itself down there against the other cone shape basically. But it wouldn't stop leaking, so I tightened it as much as I felt comfortable. I think it goes to a 111 inch-pounds, but it didn't stop leaking. So I put a little bit of Teflon tape on the top half of the bleeder screw, and then I tightened it down as firm as I could, and as I was comfortable, and then it stopped. So final voyage, we're gonna actually test this thing out. So I'm gonna take y'all along with me on this ride. Oh man, check out this fluid, man. I drained the fluid out. It's green, like dirty ass green. 2 of those bottles I flushed out and put in some fresh fluid, man. So this thing is like half full. But yeah, man, that's crazy. All right, let's see what the brakes feel like. Stopping right now. Yeah, I haven't seen my new deck yet. Backup camera. Remember what they felt like at the beginning. I mean, pedal feels a little soft, but alright, y'all, so it seems to be kind of stopping okay. I don't really remember how the brakes felt before. For some reason, it still kind of seems a little spongy to me. You know, like my Caprice and my Regal, man, the brakes are like right on top. The pedal's right on top. So I don't know if it's something different about these. I mean, it stops. It could be maybe there's still some bad fluid in there. It could be maybe I didn't bleed it enough. But it feels good driving this dang thing, I'll tell you that. I might try to do a hard stop right here. Not crazy hard, but to see what it kind of feels like. I got nobody behind me, so I'm gonna do it right here. I should do it right behind this car. Let's see. Well, they're quiet. That's good. Before they were hella noisy. Alright, y'all, so that's going to conclude the brake and rotor
install and swap and all that stuff on the Escalade here. Man, it has been a journey, but we got it done, y'all. So just one last look at it, since I didn't really show you guys. But yeah, it is looking really nice in there, and I think it's gonna look really good when they're all cleaned up, when the car's cleaned up. So that's the front, that's the rear. Yeah, I can tell that they're working because it's hot. It's hot. I can smell them too. But yeah, y'all, that's a wrap. You guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Do all that good stuff. Thank you for sticking with me, y'all. And shoot, we out of here, y'all. Deuces out.